Hi everyone, I'm Adam.
And I'm Cameron. Welcome to our channel.
So, in the last video, we said that in our country we do not have online shipping. So, most of our equipment we improvise at home.
Let's start actually with the staff itself. We're going to be looking at various different kinds of sticks, but for the first few videos we're going to be focusing on a staff that very often in Europe was called a quarterstaff. Traditionally, a quarterstaff should be something that's about a bit taller than the person who's holding it. So if you put your hand on top of your head and you stand up straight, it should be about that tall. As you can see, our sticks are a little bit shorter, so they'd strictly speaking be called a short staff. We chose this because where we train is an area where we're actually in an indoor area with some pillars and walls and things like that, and a full-size quarterstaff just becomes a bit difficult to train with. It's always catching on to stuff. What is it made of? This is made of a local hardwood in the country where we live. It's about 3 centimeters, just below that, so about an inch thick. It's quite a strong piece of wood. We rubbed it with a wax protective cover just to protect the wood over time. And the most important thing we did here, we experimented with various techniques so that we can spar without too much risk of injury. As you'll see later, there's lots of risk of injury with stick fighting. We actually made this protective thing at the end. But what we did is we took a pool noodle, one of these plastic foam pool noodles, we cut it, and then we just sliced it down the middle. We fitted it onto the end of the stick. The stick finishes about here. And then we tied it up with electrical insulation tape so that it doesn't easily come off. It doesn't come off this way, as we found that when sparring some other kinds of protection can jump off like this. And what does tend to happen is that when you're sparring, especially with thrusts, as we'll see later, it gets stuck down onto the stick. So you have to check it at the beginning of every sparring session to see if it's in good condition. This was all pretty cheap stuff to make. These staffs were actually originally some curtain poles that were left over. This pool noodle cost a few dollars for the whole thing, and we cut it up. The electrical tape, I think a roll of it cost $1. So that was pretty straightforward to start with. So if you come back, if we stand back, you can see that my stick is a wee bit longer than Adam's stick. But we're not too strict about that. As you'll see in sparring, sometimes we actually swap sticks because Adam's shorter than me to give him a little bit of a reach advantage. So that's your starting point. Thanks very much.